Unity in diversity is the main motive of every country and its citizens. In pre-independent India, Indians were the puppets in the hands of the British. And in the post-independent India, Indians remained the puppets in the hands of inequality and discrimination. Hello everyone, I'm Soni Puvamma, and in my former session, we studied about To the Food from Its Child, a poetry in genre where we learned about the trials and tribulations of a child growing into youth and youth to maturity and till death, what all the hardship the child has to face, the expectations and reality. And in today's session, we study about the hardship of life that meant to all the Dalits and concurrently the perils in the modern Indian context. India was never free from the clutches of inequality then and now. The poet Chellapalli Swarupa Rani recollects her childhood of being tormented and also with all the inequalities occurred in the modern Indian society as well as in the ancient Indian society or in the primitive age of society. This poem, Water, was translated by Uma Bhrugubandha from Telugu originality to that of the English. How did it all start? If we recur back to our sociology text, to the history texts, the downtrodden were the deprived one. From the eras of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, wherein we study about his struggle to acquire equality in the society in terms of education, in terms of all the societal that constitutes a normalcy, we see all the difficulties that the deprived face. This is no more different wherein water, being a free source of nature where nobody owns it, everybody has equal rights on water. You can see the discrimination there also. Pejorative though, the Dalits were ill-treated by the superior class. Not to mention any of those because it was all palpable in the texts of history and sociology. Going through the poems wherein we will study part by part the perils, the torments that the Dalits faced. The poet in herself was a Dalit and she recollects her childhood wherein she had to surpass all the hurdles and the hardship only for a drop of water. Glorying to your lines? Here comes the discrimination. This session I termed out to be discrimination as you understand that every stanza acquires a genre and this genre is nothing but a genre of discrimination. Just as the water knows the grounds incline, it knows the generations old strife between the village and the Vada. Like the dampness on the well's edge that never dries, it knows that untouchability never disappears. You can see the first line wherein water is personified. Water is given a human trait. To say that water has seen the discrimination. Since the human inception, there was a superior class, there was an inferior class. There was a superior complexity and inferior complexity. Who actually derived everything? It's only man. After inception, also after creation, also when God has created everyone equally. They termed themselves to be superior and the latters to be inferior. So the history dates back to the eras of course. And here it says that just as the water knows what discrimination the downtrodden class has to undergo. The grounds incline is the depth. It knows the grounds incline or the depth, the reality. And what is the reality? It knows the generations old strife. What is generations old strife? It's a struggle of Dalits. It's a struggle of poor. It's a struggle for all those who are termed to be deprived and downtrodden. Inequality existed then and it prevailing now. And she says that I have seen myself getting deprived for a pot of water. Between the village and the Vada. What is the difference between a village and a Vada? Village where superior class dwell And Vada, it's a ghetto where the poor or the Dalits or the deprived live. Like the dampness on the well's edge that never dries, it's known to all that the water in the well is to the eternal, is to the eternity. The same way, the water never gets dried in the well. Simultaneously, this caste system will never disappear. It's as truth as it is. The time we are incepted into this world, the time we started breathing, it's the time while inequality acquired the world or the globe, especially in India. It knows that untouchability never disappears. It's a harsh reality or a sarcasm to state that caste system will never disappear. The untouchables will always remain aloof from the superior class. How are they termed? They were termed superior in the way the work is done. The inferiors had their stature of working. Their untouchability defined their caste. Going forward, the water knows everything. I repeat, water is personified. The way we have been studying social textbooks wherein it says that there should be no inequality, there should be no discrimination, there should be no caste differentials, there should be no creed differentials. It's the same way we have to acknowledge that it's only in the texts and not in reality. Somewhere around, we equally stand responsible for all the undesiring terms of untouchables in this globe. It knows the difference of race. Race, of course, you would know the different kinds of race or the clans that prevails in the modern society. Between the Samaria woman and Jesus the Jew. Here, there is a biblical reference. This is a biblical reference. Samaria woman and Jesus the Jew. You know, Jesus Christ. And now, who is the Samaria woman? They are the Samarians, wherein it really did not go well. They did not change the terms alongside with each other. Jesus Christ and the clan of Samarians were not associated alongside. They did not have anything in common. They were aloof from each other in the same way. The way a Samaria woman declined in giving water to Jesus Christ in some of the biblical references, it's the same way water knows the discriminations that the superior do that to the inferior or the deprived class. What does they do? They don't normally feed the downtrodden with that of water. They were tabooed inside the village. The Vada people, the Vada belongs to the poor and this village belongs to the rich or the upper class. Every time they were tabooed to enter the village well. They had to wait outside so that a superior class comes in and draws water for them. And they had to wait for longer or the farther distant. Also, they had to walk all from the farther distant, wait for longer and longer, only in vain, until somebody comes and draw them water. Next, it also knows the subcaste difference. It's not only the caste. You have subcastes also. More than people here, you have religion. More than people and their ability, you have the subcaste, you have the caste. It's not only the caste, you have subcastes also. Between leather and spool, whether leather is used by a cobbler and a spool is used by a weaver. So they are very different in their profession. They are very different when it stands with that of the superior class. So it means that being a cobbler, that means a leather, the water, the way it knows the difference between a cobbler and the spool, wherein they are known to be the deprived one. Followed by the same of the theme discrimination, it goes such. It knows the agony of the Panchama. What does it refers to? It refers to water. Water knows the agony. Agony, pain. Pain of the Panchama. Panchama is a caste again. It's a clan here. Who, not having the right to draw a pot of water. Did human beings create water? Did they incept water in the well? It's God who created equally. Every human beings are born equally. But why this discrimination? How much ever we fight against this, we find no justice. It prevailed and it is in existence. And so the water knows that the caste system, the untouchability will never disappear. And it has seen how the Panchama, the clan, the downtrodden clan were taboo to enter the village well so that they don't draw water. It was believed that if a downtrodden people or a person comes there to draw water, the water gets polluted. Illogical though, but the society terms the one. Waits all day near the well. Why do they wait with his empty pot until a Shudra arrives? You know the caste generations. You know the subtitles also. You have Brahmanas, you have Kshatriyas, you have Shudras and you have Vaishyas. And here, until a Shudra arrives, a Panchama had to wait near the Vada border, near the village border, inside their Vada. They had to wait so that some Shudra comes there and draws water, a pot of water for them. And with this, you have disparity. Disparity is nothing but the difference. In the former slide, we studied about discrimination, wherein the poor were ill-treated. The untouchables were kept aloof the village border. They were kept aloof the village well. They were tabooed. And here there is a difference, and what makes so much of difference is this. It knows the humiliation. Again, it refers to water. And water is personified by the pot. It knows the humiliation, the shame of the Vada girl. Now, Vada girl. Why girl? Why not boy? Here there is a symbolic representation of a girl. Women are termed to be very feeble. They cannot protect themselves. They are emotionally vulnerable. And what does they do? When he refers to a Shudra or a person who belongs to the upper class, who poured the water from a distance. Why did he pour the water from distance? To make sure that he isn't impaired by the touch of the Vada girl, who is an untouchable. Falls all over and touches her. That's such a humiliation. That's such a humiliation wherein a girl who just wants a pot of water, only because he'll be impure if he goes nearby, if he approaches, he threw the water, splashed the water onto her, wherein she is more humiliated because she is completely drenched and she is dripping. It knows the righteous rage. Yes, water witnesses everything. It knows the morality of Karamachedu Suvartamma. Here there is a character. Karamachedu Suvartamma is a character who has fought for under all the unprivileged people, who fought against the perils what they had to undergo, the poor had to undergo, who opposed the Kamma landlords, the one who was superior, the one who was very benevolent on the poor or the downtrodden, with her water pot when they asked her not to pollute the pond water. Simple as such. Nothing of the explanations you need particularly here, because we all are blessed with that instinct wherein we know what is happening around the society, and we have been witnessing this. Though we always have studied equality, no discrimination, we all are equal, unity in diversity, secularism, that prevails only in the textbook. Do we follow? You will have all the answers. Next, follow the disparity. The water is witness. Yes, true, water cannot speak, but it's a witness. Can that suggest, can that give justice to the poor? It cannot. To centuries of social injustice. It's a witness. Water is a witness to centuries. See here, centuries. Anybody could fathom about the days, anybody could think about. It has been prevailing then and in existing till now. When I see water, I remember, I refers to Pot herself, how many Vada which would thirst all day for a glass of water. The Shudras, the upper class, couldn't quench the thirst of the downtrodden. Still they state themselves to be superior. Who is superior in fact? A person who serves the needy, who serves the poor, who has no disparity amongst others, stands superior. Superior in thoughts, superior in religion. Because love is beyond any religion, because love in itself is religion. But here there is so much of disparity, wherein there were none to quench their thirst. They had to die thirsty without water. After disparity comes the perils, the struggle that they undergo day on day, round the clock, every day. It's the same. Their life is just a mundane or a routine wherein they have to sit outside the village only for a pot of water. The source which is free by nature, they had to wait for that free resource. For us refers to the Dalits in sequel, of course. For us, normally referring to the poet herself. Water is not simply H2O. If we have to go, this is a scientific formula wherein in top of the generations to top it around, we normally say H2O. For them, water was not just H2O. For them, water is an emotion. For us, water is a mighty movement, a powerful movement. They need justice. They want justice for what? Equality, at least not in the caste, that's okay. We want justice while it comes to the free source of nature, and that's water, because we are equally born, we belong equally to the nature and the creation. It is the Mahat struggle at the Chardar tank. So you might be asked about this for 1 mark. Which tank? It is Chardar tank. A single drop of water embodies tears shed over several generations. Their tears, they always broke themselves down with tears so that it just streamed like water. They did not drink water, but still they had their tears rolling down just like streaming around like water. That's the peril, that's the pain they underwent. In the many battles we fought, it's not 1 or 2, since generations we are fighting. We want equality in the society because we are equally born. There should be no untouchability. God did not create us the way, it's man-made. Everything was created by man. Being superior also, it was their decision. We are inferior, it was their decision. The one who is of the superior class, and says in the many battles we fought, many plays a very important role to say that since generation we have been fighting. But did justice prevail? It just goes without saying. For a single drop of water, see the importance of water. How many of us do really realize about this? Seldom any. Our blood flowed like streams. For a pot of water, we had to profusely bleed. Why? To achieve success. And what is success all about? In having a pot of water. And that would be our greatest triumph. While we are quenched with our thirst, that should be our greatest fight. But we never managed to win. How could they? Because they are very poor. They are left with feebility. They are always in vain. Their struggle went in vain. Even a small puddle of water. It says, as this continues, but we never managed to win even a small puddle of water. Not anything, even a puddle. And following the same with the continuity, when I see water, I refers to poet herself. I remember recollecting her childhood, how we refers to the downtrodden or the Dalits. We welcomed our weekly bath. It's weekly. We normally waste water bathing twice a day, but here they have a pompous celebration while they bathe for a day, and for every once in a week or once in a month, we are clueless. As if it was a wondrous festival, because they term themselves to be dirty without bathing. And now, while they are privileged with that of a day bath or a 1 day bath or a weekly bath, they are very happy. They are rejoicing the moment. While the entire village bathed luxuriously twice a day. Let's tap our back only to say that we fall under this category. We fall under this category to say that we bathe twice a day. But there are people who are underprivileged. They don't have water even to drink, but we lamely waste water. And this takes me to the other of the subtitle, that is turmoil. Every subtitle carries one theme, and that's the discrimination and inequality and the difficulties that the Dalits and the underprivileged face. When I see Water, the poet stating herself to be the one, I remember my childhood. Her childhood would have been very sabbatical. When we walked miles to reach the big canal and carried back heavy pots with the muscles and veins on our necks, straining, bursting. We all are born with a silver spoon. We are all are born on a bed of roses. But imagine these women, if you have to give you a pictorial representation wherein women are carrying and balancing the pots, and that should have been very difficult for them. That's what she states. And the turmoils to continue. I remember there is much more to put down in words. Its thatched roofs aflame, the Malapli burning to ashes for want of a pot of water. All these are the struggles. Its thatched roofs aflame, which means the struggle of Dalits, which means that it's just like a roofless house or something wherein we are not supported. And when they talk about for want of a pot of water, we can see the desperation. You can see the struggle that they undergo day by day only for a free source of nature. For us is just a water. But water created such a turmoil, such riots amongst the people. And this is just an example. There are many which would have occurred unless everything is shrouded in mystery. Water is not a simple thing. It's not a simple thing at all, as we are so very carefree. It can give life, but it can also devour lives. It can also take your lives. You can be deprived out of lives. The water that refused to quench parched throats, parched in the sense dried throats, became the killer tsunami wave. This is the revenge that water does. This is the revenge. Water, which can be very helpful to you, which is an elixir of life. It can also kill people. It can also take your life in the way of tsunami that swallowed whole village after village. But still we are fighting. The pandemics occurred, tsunami occurred, droughts, floods. For what joy are we all fighting? We are fighting for that piece of land. We are fighting for that piece of creation wherein we are not equally responsible for its destruction. We are not equally responsible for its inception. In the other way around, human beings are so very greedy in the name of power. Next, distraught, the poor are but playthings, known to all. In its vicious hands, vicious is nothing but the corrupted hands. Often, it turns villages into dry deserts, and sometimes it drowns them in floods. So everything is contrary here. Water can play its game, but human beings will never try and understand that water, after all, is creation. We have to be equalized amongst this, but we are not. Between the village and the Vada, between one state and another, we always fight, state and another. Needless to say, of course, image would have come wherein the state, the country would have fought to achieve their rights on the free source of nature, and that's water. This water can ignite many struggles and strife. That's the only reason. Water can be a reason for any fight. It can make blood run in streams. Water can make your blood run in streams. You will be profusely bleeding out of all the chaos, out of all the riots, only because of water, because you want equality in acquiring one. But it can also sit innocently in a Bisleri war bottle. Bisleri, it shows the commercial life of water. Water, which is a free source, wherein there are people who don't get a pot of water from the free source of well. Here is something very commercial to state about, and that is Bisleri bottle. It grooms itself very stylishly under the banner of any of the Bisleri bottle. Anywhere around, stylishly with a pad around, it sits very just like a queen. And this takes me to the harsh reality stating This water from our village well, when she says this water is personified. Our village well. She says we equally belong to that village the way others belong to. The superior class belong to. It's the same way we also belong. The well is equally ours. But can we raise our voice? No, because they know the catastrophic end. That forces us to do many a circus feared. Circus feared? Giving you a imagery pictures, it states that a woman who travel, who take a pedestal way to the farther distance only to fill their pots, doing all the circus top by top, only followed by balancing the pots with such difficulty. They have to do all the circus so that they don't die thirsty. Now slowly, capriciously in a very surprised manner, or slowly, just like any of the reptile emerging out of an egg, dances its way into the Pepsi man's bottle. Commercial life. Here, water is given a picture of commercial. With its new name, mineral water. Water in itself is mineral in source, but still it's given the name mineral water. Way of advertising. It's a term of advertisement wherein it states that be it anything that is mentioned here, everything is commercialized. Water is commercialized. It takes to the skies, it raises a storm. It gives a boon in the market, and also it can be a part of destruction also. Now, water is no mean matter. Now, water is not at all an issue because everyone knows that water is a free source. But yet, we are deprived. It's no mean of matter at all. It's a multinational market commodity. It's not everybody's purpose to serve themselves. It's a multinational market commodity. Commercialized. Water is commercialized. And as they say, who says? The commercial, the advertisement, as they state, water is omniscient. Water belongs to everyone. Who is omniscient? God is omniscient. God is omnipresent. And God is omnipotent. Water is found everywhere. It contains the world. World constitutes of water, and water constitutes the world. This actually reminds me of an assertion from Coleridge's poetry, The Rime of an Ancient Mariner, wherein it states, water, water everywhere, not a drop to drink. The pain is the same, but the scenario is very much different. And with this, taking you to the glossary part, wherein you will have the different sorts of glossary or the vocabularies to learn. You know what is Vada, you know Samaira, women, and also Panchama, wherein you can see the categories refreshed. And for the marks, what is that you will get? The 1 mark, 1 question. 4 marks, 1 question. So they might ask the trails and the tribulation, the difficulties the downtrodden people face in the globe of modernized or the superior classes. Every time we have been witnessing the darkest side of our world. We know what is right and what is bad, but still we cannot raise a voice against. Water is such a thing. If I have to term it as a thing, water comes in the form of elixir. So why don't we be equal while we call India as a secular country? Here's Vidyashram for you, standard retained on learning. I'll see you with yet another new session. The poetry for this class ends here. Until then, bye-bye.